Jarrell Big Baby Miller compares his fight with Anthony Joshua to Mike Tyson, Frank Bruno. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, upcoming fight just announced, and that's Jarrell Big Baby Miller challenging Anthony Joshua for all the belts. And there's an interview with SkySports. Make sure you guys take a look at it. Headliner reads, Joshua versus Miller. Jarrell Big Baby Miller warns Anthony Joshua to expect painful shock in New York, right? And you dig into the interview, and this is what Jarrell Miller had to say. Jarrell Miller says Anthony Joshua has never fought anyone like him after the 300-pound New Yorker was confirmed for the Britain's next challenger, right? Joshua has comfortably overcame his previous 22 opponents, but Miller insists his formidable size, strength, and refined skills will pose fresh problems to the undefeated 29-year-old. Of course, not never, said Miller when asked if he could be compared to previous fights of Joshua. I'm a guy that's actually bigger than him. AJ has an inch or so in height. That's about it. But activity and boxing IQ, good head movement, and defense, I could throw a lot of punches, and I have heart of 10 lions, the heart of 10 lions. I'm totally different. That's the main goal, run him over. I'm not playing no games with AJ. There's no way to prepare for me. There's no right way for preparing for a person like me. The Brooklyn-born fighter has drawn parallels between his fight with Joshua and Mike Tyson's destructive 1996 knockout win over Frank Bruno in Las Vegas. Jarrell Miller continued and says, and I quote, like a Frank Bruno, he came in, he looked good, and he got flattened. Tune in, Big Baby Miller is not just the American champ, he's the English champ, he's the people's champ. If you want entertainment, you're going to get it, and this is a fight you need to see. End quote. So, he's making some bold claims. The reason they're bold is just because Joshua has the 4 belts, looks the part, obviously has the better resume with the Klitschko and guys like Dillian White who are still relevant. Joshua has beaten those guys. But, let Jarrell Big Baby Miller tell it. He has other plans. Now, my thoughts on this fight are simple. The fight's not the worst fight. It's a solid fight. The biggest thing is we don't know enough about Jarrell Miller. So me personally, I would have liked to see Jarrell Miller probably get in with Dillian White. I think that would have been a proper build-up. One guy, there would be only, if they would have fought like December, for example, that would have been perfect. Instead of Dillian White versus Derek Chisora 2. And then the winner fights AJ. And that would have been a stern test for both fighters. Fresh fight instead of a recycled, like Rematch Room likes to do, a recycled fight we had already seen in more of a domestic fight, and the reason I say domestic, you have Derek Chisora, that the UK knows, and Dillian White who the UK knows, but it would have been a UK fighter versus an American fighter, and the region you fight from poses different stylistic challenges. I'm not saying everyone from each region fights the same way, but we know Jarrell Big Baby Miller, as he's saying in this interview towards Joshua, he doesn't fight like Derek Chisora. He doesn't have the same attributes physically. I mean, this is a 317 pound man, so there's obviously inherent differences between the two. So me personally, that's what I would have preferred. It's not what we got. We got what we got. Dillian White felt he was lowballed, so that fight's out. Now it's Jarrell Miller up. His last performance, he looked good, threw a lot of punches. Didn't really know much about his opponent, Baghdad Dinu from Romania. He was a boxer, but also part of the SWAT team and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to gauge the level of success that Jarrell Miller will have. However, from the eye test and what we do know of him, I agree with Jarrell Miller. I'm not saying he wins. I got to think about the fight more. It's a good fight. See, boxing is very tricky. I think the timing is more right for Jarrell Miller than it is for Anthony Joshua, and I can explain. Jarrell Miller, going into this fight, really has nothing to lose, in my opinion. He's not a champion. He's hasn't fought at this level of guy professionally, under the bright lights. Hasn't fought Klitschko. He's not this, massive A-side that Max Kellerman is saying is bigger than Canelo Alvarez on ESPN's First Take. So he really has to just go in there, stick to him and his team's game plan, and perform the best of his ability and try to upset Joshua, And on top of that, he's getting a bag. Joshua's first fight in America. It's a title fight, so I can imagine he's getting paid good. The zone's been throwing around a lot of money. Jarrell Miller, I've interviewed with him, and he's intelligent. His sister's even in the business, and she manages him and stuff. So they got a good game plan and a good system going as far as the business. He ain't gonna get chumped. You get what I'm saying? He's not gonna he's gonna get what he feels he's worth, or the fight's worth. He understands the business. That's important. A lot of these fighters don't understand the business, but these Brooklyn dudes is quick. Look at them. Daniel Jacobs, who's he fighting next? Canelo. Who's Jarrell Big Baby Miller fighting? We've seen Zab Judah in his prime, Mike Tyson. These Brooklyn boys know how to hustle. So shout out to BK. But I really think the pressure is really on Joshua. And on top of just the physical attributes and stuff like that, Joshua's in a bad spot in America. He's never fought here. Jarrell Miller's been fighting America. He's an American. Jarrell Miller has really nothing to lose and everything to gain. Anthony Joshua, he's the guy traveling. He's going to have to acclimate and get adjusted to the time zone. And I know Joshua got money, so he can come 3 weeks early, a month earlier. He might even have a training camp out here. Who knows? So that's not just it, merely jet lag and time zone differences, but the pressure is on Anthony Joshua to perform. He's the guy with 4 belts he has to retain. He's the guy everyone wants to see fight Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, the winner of Wilder Fury versus Part 2. He's the guy that is under scrutiny right now. Jarrell Miller is not. So all the way around, Jarrell Miller's winning. Anthony Joshua, however, he's the one that has to, rise to the occasion as a champion, as a cash cow, as the visitor to America, so I think there's more pressure on Joshua. And it's going to be interesting, even though Joshua is taller than Jarrell Miller, like Miller is saying, he's not bigger. And the thing that's interesting to me is Joshua has exuded some flaws that I've seen, at least, and exhibited some stamina issues. Jarrell Miller happens to be the size, and he happens to be the guy with the most volume in current boxing in the heavyweight, in that division. He throws the most amount of punches. So if he can take what Joshua dishes out early, and take the power of Joshua and the technique of Joshua and get to that mid without getting, too enchanted or getting too jaded, it'll be real interesting around the middle of the fight, because Joshua has showed, even in the Takam fight, the Klitschko fight, as in shape as he's in all these exercises and stuff that he's doing, he showed, just like Canelo, some stamina issues. He's not like Floyd Mayweather Floyd Mayweather would be good even if it was back in the day, the throwback days, where you could fight 15 rounders. A lot of these other guys wouldn't be good when it comes to endurance and cardio in a 15 rounder. They don't have it. They gas out and blow their wad and stuff like that. I can't picture Sergey Kovalev having the record he has if it was 15 rounders, or, just even guys like Canelo, Joshua, they've showed stamina issues. So basically, Jarrell Big Baby Miller is not a real guy that you want to be in there with, frustrated and in the midpoint with his size, the midway of the fight, and you haven't seriously badly hurt him, and you're starting to tire, because Dillian White jokes about it, but he says, they're gonna have to reinforce the bottom of the ring and reinforce the ropes with steel. Because what if he trips and falls on Joshua? Like, obviously he's being facetious there, but what he's saying is true. Like, that's a lot of weight. Like 317 pounds. I've been next to Duke, you know, and he's probably like 6'4" or 6'4.5" ish, maybe a little bit taller, I want to say. So Joshua's gonna have like 1.5 inches, 2 inches height advantage. But in terms of mass, we've seen even Joshua, as big as he's been, he looks like he's leaning out. He don't look as big. Like before he looked like a straight up like Action Jackson, Carl Weathers bodybuilder looking dude. You know what I'm saying? But we've seen him like taper down in his recent fights. So it is, you know, it's an interesting fight. I'll say that. It's gonna be interesting to see the formula for success that they both use. Like I said, is AJ gonna try to put back some on that muscle on that he looked like he in his last 2 fights or whatever? It looked like, and it's funny because Joshua made a comment about how I'll eat him to Deontay Wilder, saying Deontay Wilder was too light. Right after he made that comment, I noticed he started losing a lot of weight. You know, he's still big. He's still, you know, bigger than the average guy and muscular and stuff, but he's not as big. And you've seen that even in his weigh-ins, because his Klitschko weigh-in, he was big, you know. When he was weighing in with Dillian White and stuff, he looked real big in those fights, and he's since seemed to lean down. So is he going to try to stack some muscle on to be more durable? Is that going to hurt? You know, because muscles take more oxygen. You know, it's an interesting fight. The other thing is Jarrell Miller, personality-wise, he's going to be leading the promotion, and he's already said things that are offensive. So with the backlash that Joshua's received for even picking Miller, for not fighting Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder last year, and those types of things, that's another thing that's going to be interesting for me to see how Joshua deals with everything. People are mad that the Deontay Wilder fight didn't happen. Also, some people are mad that you picked Jarrell Miller instead of Dillian White, Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury, and Wilder. Plus, you got a guy egging you on and really trying to grind your gears and wind you up. Like Jarrell Big Baby Miller talking about, I'm going to take your moms out after I whoop you, and you an English muffin and Apple Jacks, apple juice, and won't. So I want to see how Joshua deals with this, not only from a physicality, him not being the bigger man mass-wise, but also what, you know, the Brownsville, Brooklyn trash talk, you know. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's any comparisons to Mike Tyson obliterating Frank Bruno in Las Vegas? Do you think Jarrell Miller can have any success? I definitely don't think Miller's a walkover opponent. You know, I think ultimately people are just upset with how everything played out for Joshua and the lack of transparency on behalf of Team Joshua. You know, they said what they said doesn't make sense. They said they didn't want to come to America. Why should they sell their soul? Why should they, as A-side, visit America? We don't want to come. They literally asked him after his fights. I believe it was the Joseph Parker post-fight interview. The SkySports reporter says, "Do you want to take over America? Is that your plan in the immediate future?" He says, "No." Said he didn't want to take over America. Now he's coming to America, and all of a sudden he got the bug. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. Let me know if you agree with Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Do you think he can pose problems? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Those are my early thoughts for the fight. Link in the description. Shout out to Sky Sports. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.